The small alien ship shook as it fell through the clouds above Haven's Rest. Ambassador Zethkri gripped his chair with 4 thin fingers while his purple skin turned a pale shade of fear. The engines made terrible grinding sounds before they died completely. "Brace for impact," called his pilot, but the words came too late. The ship hit the ground hard, sliding through dirt and rocks for several hundred feet before it finally stopped. Smoke rose from the broken engines. Zethkri slowly stood up and checked on his 3 companions. They were all alive but shaken. Their mission to make first contact with the humans had gone very wrong very quickly. The Galactic Council had spent months preparing for this meeting. They had studied human behavior patterns and learned their basic language. Everything was supposed to be simple and peaceful. "Sir, the emergency beacon is working," reported his communications officer. "The rescue ship will find us in a few hours." "Good," Zethkri said, though his voice still trembled. "Let us exit the ship and wait outside. The smoke is getting thick." 4 aliens stepped out of their damaged craft into the warm afternoon air. Haven's Rest was a beautiful world with green forests and blue skies that reminded Zethkri of his home planet. The humans had chosen well for their colony. Jake Morrison was having a normal day until he saw the smoke rising from the forest. He had been checking the soil quality in Sector 7 when the alien ship crashed less than a mile from his position. Jake worked as a terraforming engineer, which meant he spent most of his time alone in the wilderness, making sure the planet stayed healthy for human settlement. He was not completely alone, though. Brutus walked beside him, sniffing at interesting plants and chasing small creatures that scurried through the underbrush. Brutus was a big dog, almost 4 feet tall and weighing close to 120 pounds. His black and brown coat gleamed in the sunlight, and his intelligent brown eyes missed nothing. The humans had brought dogs like Brutus to Haven's Rest for protection. The planet had some dangerous wildlife, and the enhanced German shepherds could handle most threats. Brutus had been Jake's companion for 3 years now, and Jake trusted the dog with his life. "Come on, boy," Jake said, pointing toward the smoke. "Let's go check that out." Brutus barked once and trotted ahead, his nose already picking up strange new scents. Jake followed, carrying his survey equipment and wondering what could have caused such a crash. No human ships were scheduled to land in this area. When Jake and Brutus reached the crash site, they found something that made Jake stop and stare. The ship was definitely not human. It was sleek and silver with designs that hurt his eyes to look at directly. 4 strange beings stood near the wreckage, and they looked nothing like any species Jake had ever seen in the colonial database. The aliens were tall and thin with purple skin and large black eyes. They had 4 arms each and moved in a way that reminded Jake of birds. Their clothes looked expensive and official. Jake was so amazed by seeing real aliens that he almost forgot about Brutus. The dog had gone very still beside him, and a low growl was building in his throat. Brutus had detected something that his enhanced senses marked as potentially dangerous. The growl grew louder. Brutus took a step forward, his body tense and ready for action. His lips pulled back to show his white teeth, and the fur on his neck stood up straight. To Brutus, these strange new creatures were unknown threats in his territory. The effect on the aliens was instant and terrifying. All 4 of them froze completely, their large eyes growing even wider with fear. Zethkri felt his hearts beating, so fast he thought they might burst. In front of him stood the most dangerous creature he had ever seen. The beast was massive, easily capable of killing all 4 of them within seconds. Its teeth were clearly designed for tearing flesh, and its muscular body spoke of power and speed. Worse, it was showing clear signs of aggression. The creature's threatening posture and menacing sounds meant it was preparing to attack. Zethkri's species had evolved as prey animals. Their ancestors had survived by running from predators and hiding in safe places. Every instinct in his body screamed at him to flee, but his legs would not move. The predator's eyes were fixed on them, and he knew that running would only trigger its hunting response. His 3 companions were in the same state of terror. They had never seen anything like this monster in their peaceful corner of the galaxy. Their homeworld had eliminated all dangerous predators thousands of years ago. The Council had assured them that humans were a gentle species that posed no threat. But this creature standing before them was clearly not human. It had to be some kind of guard beast or war animal that the humans used for protection. The very existence of such a monster suggested that humans were far more dangerous than anyone had realized. Jake finally noticed that something was wrong. He looked at the aliens and saw that they were completely terrified. Their purple skin had gone almost white, and they were shaking like leaves in a strong wind. "Hey there," Jake called out in a friendly voice. "Are you folks okay? That was quite a crash." The aliens did not respond. They were too focused on the snarling death machine that stood ready to tear them apart. Jake looked down at Brutus and suddenly understood the problem. He reached down and scratched behind the dog's ears, which immediately made Brutus relax. The growling stopped and his tail began to wag slightly. "Chill out, you spoiled murder doggo," Jake said with a laugh. "They're just scared." He pulled a piece of jerky from his pocket and gave it to Brutus, who chewed it happily. Then Jake walked closer to the aliens, moving slowly and keeping his hands visible. "Sorry about him," Jake said. "He's very protective, but he won't hurt you unless you threaten me. I'm Jake Morrison, terraforming engineer. Looks like you folks need some help." Jake offered them his water bottle and some trail mix, completely unaware that the aliens were still convinced they were about to die horribly. Jake had sent a message to the research station as soon as he found the aliens. Within an hour, he could hear the sound of an approaching vehicle. Dr. Lisa Chen arrived in her all-terrain truck, kicking up dust as she parked near the crash site. Lisa was the best xenobiologist on Haven's Rest. She had studied alien life forms for 10 years and spoke several galactic languages. If anyone could help with first contact, it was her. But Lisa had not come alone. A sleek black dog jumped out of the truck behind her. Saber was a Belgian Malinois, smaller than Brutus but just as impressive. His intelligent eyes scanned the area while his nose picked up the scent of the aliens. Lisa had trained Saber to help her track and study wildlife specimens. When the 4 aliens saw the second predator, their terror reached new levels. Zethkri felt his breathing become rapid and shallow. Not only were there 2 of these monsters now, but they seemed to be working with the humans. This was far worse than he had imagined. The aliens huddled together near their broken ship. In their minds, they were now surrounded by a pack of deadly hunters. Every survival instinct told them they were about to become prey. Zethkri tried to remember everything he knew about predator behavior, but his knowledge was mostly theoretical. "Jake, what's the situation here?" Lisa asked as she approached. Saber stayed close to her side, alert but calm. "Found them about an hour ago," Jake replied. "Their ship crashed, but they seem physically okay. Problem is, they're absolutely terrified of the dogs. Look at them." Lisa looked at the aliens and immediately understood. She had seen this kind of fear response before in prey animals on other worlds. These beings had evolved as hunted creatures, and every line of their bodies showed it. "They think Brutus and Saber are going to attack them," she said quietly. "But that's crazy," Jake said. "These guys are harmless. Brutus wouldn't hurt a fly, unless I told him to." Lisa pulled out her translation device and adjusted the settings. She had downloaded the basic language files for several known species before leaving the station. After a few tries, she found the right frequency. "Hello," she said through the device. "We are humans from the colony. We want to help you. You are safe." Zethkri heard the translated words, but they made no sense to him. How could they be safe? When 2 apex predators stood ready to attack, he forced himself to speak despite his fear. Your creatures," he managed to say in broken human language. "They are very dangerous. Why do you not run from them?" Lisa and Jake exchanged confused looks. Jake scratched his head while Brutus sat down and began licking his paw. "Creatures?" Jake asked. "You mean the dogs? They're not dangerous. Well, not to us anyway." "Dogs?" Zethkri repeated the strange word. He had never heard this term before. Lisa realized she needed to be more careful with her explanation. These aliens clearly had no concept of domesticated animals. She tried to think of the best way to explain without causing more panic. "These are our companions," she said slowly through the translator. "They live with us. They help us. They protect us from real dangers. Companions? The word translated poorly, and Zethkri became even more confused. You mean they do not hunt you? Hunt us? Jake laughed, which made all the aliens flinch. No, they don't hunt us. We feed them. We take care of them. They're like family. This statement caused a heated discussion among the aliens in their own language. Lisa could not understand their words, but their body language was clear. They were arguing about something important. Meanwhile, Saber had become bored with standing still. He picked up a stick and brought it to Lisa, dropping it at her feet and wagging his tail. Lisa smiled and threw the stick across the clearing. Saber raced after it with obvious joy. The aliens watched this display with growing confusion. The predator was playing? It had voluntarily given up a potential weapon and was now chasing it for no apparent reason. This behavior made no sense according to their understanding of predator psychology. Your database must be wrong. One of the aliens said to Zethkri in their own language. Predators do not play. They hunt or they rest. I know what the database says, Zethkri replied. But look at them. The humans are not afraid. They are giving commands to the beasts, and the beasts obey. Lisa caught some of their conversation through her translation device. She realized they were trying to understand the relationship between humans and dogs, but they were starting from completely wrong assumptions. Let me show you something, she said. She called Saber back and had him sit. Then she opened her pack and pulled out a treat. Saber, shake. The dog lifted his paw, and Lisa shook it gently before giving him the treat. Saber's tail wagged harder, and he looked at Lisa with clear affection. You see? Lisa said to the aliens. He is not dangerous to us. We trained him. We taught him to help us. Trained? Zethkri struggled with this concept. You mean you conquered them? No, not conquered, Jake said. He was getting frustrated with the language barrier. Look, let me try something. Jake sat down on the ground and called Brutus over. The big dog immediately lay down next to him and rolled onto his back, exposing his belly. Jake rubbed the dog's stomach while Brutus made happy sounds. Does this look like conquest to you? Jake asked. The aliens stared in amazement. The massive predator was making itself completely vulnerable to the human. In their world, this behavior was impossible. Predators never showed weakness, especially to potential. Prey Lisa pulled out her portable computer and began searching through her files. She found some basic information about Earth's evolutionary history and projected it as a hologram. These animals evolved with us, she explained. Long ago, our ancestors worked together. We helped each other survive. Over many generations, we became partners. The hologram showed images of early humans and wolves working together to hunt and protect their camps. Then it showed the gradual change from wolves to modern dogs over thousands of years. Zethkri studied the images carefully. The concept was unlike anything in his species' history. On his world, predators and prey had always been enemies. The idea that they could become allies was revolutionary. This partnership, he said slowly. It has lasted for how long? About 15,000 of our years, Lisa replied. The number shocked all four aliens. Their entire recorded history was only 12,000 years long. These humans had been working with predators since before their civilization began. And they never turned against you? Asked another alien. Never, Jake said firmly. They love us, we love them. We take care of each other. Brutus seemed to sense that he was being discussed. He got up and walked over to Jake, resting his massive head on the human's shoulder. Jake hugged the dog affectionately. The aliens watched this display of mutual affection with wonder and growing understanding. Maybe these creatures were not the monsters they had first appeared to be. The sound of military vehicles made everyone look up. 3 armored trucks were coming fast across the plains toward the crash site. Jake recognized the markings of the Colonial Defense Force and felt both relief and worry. Relief because help was coming, but worry because the aliens were already scared enough. Captain Amy Rodriguez stepped out of the lead truck. She was a tough woman with short brown hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Behind her came 6 soldiers, and with each soldier came a dog. The K-9 unit of Haven's Rest was impressive and intimidating. Rex led the pack. He was a massive Rottweiler, mix, bred specifically for combat situations. His broad chest and powerful muscles made him look like a living weapon. Next to him walked Storm, a German shepherd trained for tracking enemies. The other 4 dogs were equally impressive, each one trained for war. When Zethkri saw the new arrivals, his worst fears seemed confirmed. Not only did humans control predators, but they had actually militarized them. These were not pet companions or work animals. These were weapons of war walking on 4 legs. "Jake, what's the situation?" Captain Rodriguez asked, but her eyes never left the aliens. Her training had taught her to be suspicious of unknown threats. "First contact, Captain," Jake replied. "Their ship crashed. No weapons detected, no hostile behavior, but they're terrified of our dogs." Rex moved closer to investigate the aliens, his nose working to identify their scent. The big dog was not aggressive, just curious, but to the aliens he looked like death approaching on silent paws. The alien communications officer made a strangled sound of terror and stumbled backward. His legs gave out, and he fell to the ground. The other aliens immediately surrounded him, trying to protect their weakest member from the approaching predator. "Rex, stay," Captain Rodriguez commanded. The dog immediately stopped and sat down, but his eyes remained fixed on the aliens. Ben Carter arrived in the 4th vehicle. He was the colony's communications specialist, a thin man with glasses who preferred computers to combat. His job was to establish proper contact with alien governments, something he had trained for but never expected to do. Honey jumped out of his truck and immediately ran toward the group. She was a golden retriever, friendly and energetic. Her tail wagged as she approached the aliens, wanting to greet these new creatures she had never seen before. The sight of another predator running straight at them caused complete panic among the aliens. They pressed together in a tight group, making high-pitched sounds of distress. To them, Honey looked just as dangerous as Rex, despite her friendly intentions. "Honey, come back here," Ben called, but the dog was too excited to listen immediately. She stopped a few feet from the aliens and sat down, tilting her head in confusion at their strange behavior. "Why are they so scared?" Captain Rodriguez asked Lisa. "Are we dealing with a prey species?" "Definitely," Lisa replied. "They evolved as hunted animals. To them, our dogs look like the ultimate predators. They can't understand why we're not afraid." Ben pulled out his advanced communication equipment and began setting up a proper translation system. His job was to contact the Galactic Council and arrange formal diplomatic meetings. But first he needed to calm down these terrified visitors. "Can you ask them about their government?" he requested Lisa. "We need to know who to contact about the crash." Lisa used her translator to speak with Zethkri. "We want to call your people. Who should we contact about your ship?" "The Galactic Council Fleet Command," Zethkri managed to answer. "But you must understand, we need protection from your war beasts. Please keep them away from us." Captain Rodriguez frowned at this translation. "War beasts? They think our dogs are weapons?" "That's exactly what they think," Jake said. "Look at it from their point of view. We're giving commands to animals that could kill them easily, and the animals obey perfectly. What would you think?" Meanwhile, the dogs were becoming restless. They could sense the aliens' fear, which made some of them nervous. Storm began pacing back and forth while Rex kept looking at Captain Rodriguez for instructions. Only Honey seemed unaffected, still sitting and wagging her tail. Ben managed to establish contact with the alien rescue ship in orbit around Haven's Rest. The conversation did not go well. When the ship's captain learned that the crash survivors were surrounded by humans and their predator companions, he became very concerned. "They want to send down a full rescue team," Ben reported. "Armed shuttles with military escorts. They think we're holding their people hostage. That's the last thing we need," Captain Rodriguez said. "Armed aliens landing on our world because they're afraid of our pets." Lisa had an idea. She called Honey over and had the friendly dog demonstrate some basic tricks. Honey sat, rolled, over, played dead, and fetched a ball. Throughout the demonstration, Lisa kept explaining to the aliens that this was play, not training for combat. "You see? she said through the translator. "This is not a weapon. This is a friend. She enjoys making us happy." The aliens watched in fascination as Honey performed her tricks with obvious joy. The concept of a predator wanting to please other creatures was completely foreign to them, but they could not deny what they were seeing. Zethkri began to have doubts about his initial assessment. These creatures showed emotions and behaviors that did not match any predator in his database. They seemed to genuinely care about pleasing the humans, not just obeying out of fear. "Perhaps," he said carefully, "we have misunderstood something important about your relationship with these creatures." "You think?" Jake said with a grin. "Brutus here is basically my best friend. He'd die for me, and I'd die for him. That's not about conquest or control. That's about love." The word love translated poorly, but the emotion behind it was clear. Jake's voice carried genuine affection when he spoke about his dog, and Brutus responded by moving closer to his human companion. "Captain," Rodriguez realized they had a serious diplomatic problem. The alien rescue fleet was preparing for a military operation based on a complete misunderstanding. If armed alien ships attacked Haven's Rest to rescue their people from imaginary hostage takers, people would die. "We need to fix this fast," she said. "Ben, can you arrange a video call with their command ship? Maybe if they can see what's really happening here, they'll understand." "I can try," Ben replied, "but I'm not sure they'll believe what they see. From their perspective, we're a species that somehow conquered the most dangerous predators in the galaxy and turned them into perfect soldiers." Storm chose that moment to walk over to one of the soldiers and nudge his hand, asking for attention. The soldier smiled and scratched behind the dog's ears while Storm's tail wagged happily. "Yeah," Jake said, watching the interaction. "We're real terrifying conquerors, all right, conquered by slobbery kisses and demands for belly rubs." The aliens observed this exchange with growing confusion. Their understanding of predator behavior simply could not account for what they were witnessing. These creatures were showing affection, playfulness, and loyalty in ways that challenged everything they thought they knew about the natural order. The sky above Haven's Rest filled with alien ships. 3 large vessels descended through the clouds, their hulls gleaming silver in the afternoon sun. Each ship carried enough firepower to level a small city. The Galactic Council had sent their best rescue fleet, expecting to face a dangerous military situation. Senior diplomat Krisha stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the human settlement through powerful telescopes. What she saw made her blood run cold. Humans walked freely among dozens of massive predators. Children played in parks while enormous beasts ran beside them. Elderly humans sat on benches with the creatures lying peacefully at their feet. "This is impossible," she whispered to her tactical officer. "How can they live like this?" "Perhaps the humans are immune to predator attacks," the officer suggested. "Or maybe they have some kind of mind control technology." Krisha studied the images more carefully. She watched a human child throw a ball, and one of the creatures raced after it at incredible speed. The beast could have easily caught and killed the child, but instead it brought the ball back and dropped it at the child's feet. The child laughed and threw it again. Mind control, she decided. It has to be mind control. No predator would behave this way naturally. Down at the crash site, Ben had finally established a video connection with the alien fleet. The screen showed Krisha's worried face as she looked at the humans and their dogs gathered around the crash survivors. "I'm Senior Diplomat Krisha of the Galactic Council," she announced. "We demand the immediate release of our citizens. We know you are holding them against their will." "Nobody's holding anybody," Jake replied, confused by the accusation. "We're trying to help them. Their ship crashed, and we've been taking care of them." "Taking care of them?" Krisha's voice rose in disbelief. "You have surrounded them with apex predators. We can see the creatures from orbit. Your entire settlement is overrun with them." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding. These are domestic animals. They're not dangerous to us." "Domestic?" Krisha had never heard this word before. Her translator could not find a proper equivalent in her language. What does this mean? Lisa tried to explain, but the concept was too foreign for the aliens to understand. She pulled up her holographic display again, showing the evolution of wolves into dogs over thousands of years. The alien diplomat watched the presentation with growing amazement. You claim you changed them? Krisha asked. You altered their very nature? Through selective breeding over many generations, Lisa confirmed. We chose the friendliest ones to have babies. Over time, they became different from their wild ancestors. The idea shocked Krisha. Her species had never attempted to change other creatures. They believed that nature was fixed and unchangeable. The thought that humans had actually modified apex predators into companions was revolutionary. Danny Wright chose that moment to arrive at the crash site. He was a cheerful man who ran the settlement's agricultural program. His border collie, Max, rode in the back of his truck, tongue hanging out as he enjoyed the wind. Danny had heard about the aliens on his radio and decided to come see them for himself. He parked his truck and jumped out, followed immediately by Max. The dog was excited to meet new people and bounded toward the group with his tail wagging. Hey there, Danny called out cheerfully. Are these our new alien friends? Max, come say hello. Max ran straight to the aliens, stopped a few feet away and performed a perfect playbow. His front end went down while his rear end stayed up, tail wagging furiously. It was the universal dog signal for let's be friends. The aliens had never seen this behavior before. To them, it looked like the predator was preparing to attack. Zethkri and his companions pressed together in terror, certain that their end had come. Max, sit, Danny commanded, and the dog immediately obeyed. Sorry, he's very friendly. Loves meeting new people, don't you, boy? Danny scratched behind Max's ears, and the dog leaned into the touch with obvious pleasure. His eyes closed in. Contentment and a soft whine of happiness escaped his throat. Through the video connection, Krisha watched this interaction with growing confusion. The human was clearly giving orders to the predator, but the creature seemed to enjoy following those orders. This went against everything she knew about the relationship between predators and prey. Your database about these creatures, she said to her tactical officer. Show me what it says about their behavior. The officer brought up the files on Earth canines. The information was limited but terrifying. It described pack hunters with powerful jaws, territorial instincts, and the ability to track prey across great distances. According to the data, these creatures should be the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. The database must be wrong, Krisha concluded, or the humans have done something to them that we don't understand. Back on the ground, more humans were arriving to see the aliens. Word had spread throughout the settlement that first contact had been made. Teachers came with their students, shopkeepers closed their stores to get a look, and families brought their children to witness this historic moment. And with every human came their dogs. The settlement's population of canines was impressive. There were German shepherds and golden retrievers, border collies and labradors, mixed breeds and purebreds. Each one was clearly bonded to their human family. The aliens watched in amazement as children played with puppies. Teenagers taught young dogs to fetch, and adults worked alongside their canine partners. Every interaction showed the same pattern: mutual affection, cooperation, and trust. This is not conquest, Zethkri said quietly to his companions. This is something else entirely. One of his fellow diplomats nodded slowly. They don't fear the predators because the predators don't want to hurt them. But how is this possible? Maybe, Zethkri said, we need to accept that our understanding of predator behavior is incomplete. An elderly woman named Martha approached the group, moving slowly with the help of a walking stick. Beside her walked an ancient golden retriever named Charlie. The old dog's muzzle was gray with age, and he moved carefully to match his owner's pace. I heard we had visitors, Martha said with a warm smile. Charlie and I wanted to welcome you to our world. Charlie looked at the aliens with kind, tired eyes. He had lived for 14 years and had never hurt anyone. His greatest joy was lying in the sun and being petted by children. He was the opposite of everything the aliens believed about predators. This one is old, observed one of the aliens. Why do you keep it? It cannot hunt anymore. Hunt? Martha laughed gently. Charlie never hunted anything except tennis balls. He's family. We keep him because we love him and he loves us. She sat down on a nearby rock, and Charlie carefully lowered himself to lie beside her. Martha's hand rested on his head, and both of them looked completely at peace. Through the video connection, Krisha saw this simple scene and felt something shift in her understanding. The old human and the aging predator clearly cared for each other. This was not about dominance or control. This was about something much deeper. I think, she said slowly, we need to reconsider our entire approach to this situation. Dr. Kate Sullivan received the emergency call while she was treating sick animals at the veterinary clinic. The message was urgent. Alien first contact had gone wrong, and they needed her help immediately. Kate grabbed her medical bag and called for Scout, her therapy dog. Scout was a gentle Labrador retriever with soft brown eyes and a calm personality. Kate had trained him to help scared and injured animals feel better. Scout had a special gift for knowing exactly how to approach frightened creatures without making them more afraid. When Kate arrived at the crash site, she could see the problem right away. The aliens were huddled together near their broken ship, shaking with fear. Above them, 3 massive alien warships hung in the sky like storm clouds. The situation was getting worse by the minute. What's their medical condition? Kate asked Lisa, as she examined the crash survivors from a distance. Physically, they seem fine, Lisa replied, but they're in severe psychological distress. Their fear response is off the charts. Kate noticed that one of the aliens, a smaller one who seemed younger than the others, was limping slightly. He had been injured in the crash but was too scared to ask for help. The young alien kept looking at all the dogs with wide, terrified eyes. I need to treat that injury, Kate said, but if I get too close with Scout, they'll panic even more. Scout seemed to understand the situation without being told. The therapy dog had worked with scared animals before, and his instincts told him these strange new creatures needed special care. He moved very slowly toward the aliens, keeping his body low and non-threatening. The adult aliens tried to shield their injured companion, but Scout stopped several feet away and simply lay down. He rested his chin on his paws and looked at them with the most gentle expression a dog could make. His tail gave one small, careful wag. The young alien stared at Scout in confusion. This predator was not acting like any dangerous creature he had ever imagined. There was something soft and kind in the dog's eyes, something that spoke of friendship rather than hunger. Kate approached very slowly, speaking in a quiet voice. I'm a doctor, she said through the translator. I can help with that leg injury. Scout won't hurt you. He only wants to help. The young alien looked at his elders, unsure what to do. His leg was getting more painful, but accepting help from these strange beings seemed dangerous. Then Scout did something that changed everything. The therapy dog crawled forward on his belly, moving like a humble servant rather than a proud predator. When he was close enough, he gently rested his head near the young alien's injured leg, not touching but showing that he wanted to help. The young alien reached out with one trembling finger and touched Scout's soft fur. Nothing terrible happened. Scout's tail wagged slightly, and he made a soft sound that somehow communicated safety and kindness. He likes you, Kate said with a smile. Scout has never met anyone like you before, but he wants to be your friend. The breakthrough came when the young alien began to pet Scout's head. The dog's calm presence had a magical effect, and the alien's fear started to fade. For the first time since the crash, he felt safe. Kate was able to treat the leg injury while Scout provided comfort. The other aliens watched in amazement as their youngest member actually smiled while petting the supposed predator. The scene was impossible according to everything they believed about the universe. Through the video connection, senior diplomat Krisha saw what was happening and felt her worldview crumble. The gentle interaction between her people's child and the Earth creature was unlike anything in their recorded history. This was not dominance or mind control. This was pure kindness. Stand down all weapons, she ordered her fleet. We are not dealing with a hostile situation. Jake and Lisa worked together to provide a complete explanation of human canine history. They used videos, pictures, and live demonstrations to show how wolves had gradually become dogs through thousands of years of cooperation and selective breeding. "We didn't conquer them," Jake explained patiently. "We became partners. They helped us hunt and protect our homes. We gave them food and shelter. Over many generations, we both changed. They became more friendly, and we learned to understand them better." The concept was revolutionary to the alien minds. Their own evolution had been a constant struggle between predator and prey, with no cooperation between species. The idea that two different kinds of creatures could work together and actually change each other was completely new. Zethkri watched as children from the human settlement came to see the aliens. Each child was accompanied by a dog, and each dog was clearly protective of their young human companion. But the protection was gentle, not aggressive. The dogs seemed to understand that children needed special care. "This partnership," Zethkri said slowly, "it has made you both stronger." "Exactly," Lisa replied. "Dogs have better senses than we do. They can smell and hear things we miss. We have better reasoning abilities and can use tools. Together, we can do things that neither species could do alone." Danny's border collie Max demonstrated this perfectly. Danny gave him complex commands, and Max herded a group of the settlement's sheep with incredible skill. The dog understood exactly what his human wanted and performed the task with intelligence and enthusiasm. "Amazing," breathed one of the alien officers through the video link. "The creature is thinking and making decisions, but it chooses to work with the human rather than for itself." "That's what partnership means," Ben explained. "We trust each other completely. Max knows that Danny will always take care of him, so Max is happy to do whatever Danny asks." The final proof came when Scout approached Zethkri directly. The therapy dog had sensed that the alien diplomat was still afraid, and his training told him to help. Scout lay down next to Zethkri and offered his head for petting. With trembling hands, Zethkri touched the dog's soft fur. Scout's tail wagged gently and he made a contented sound. In that moment, Zethkri understood something profound about the nature of trust and friendship. "They choose to be with you," he said in wonder. "These powerful creatures choose to be gentle because they love you. And we choose to be gentle with them because we love them back," Kate added. "That's what makes it work." Senior diplomat Krisha ordered her ships to land peacefully. She wanted to study this incredible partnership between species. The implications were staggering. If predators and prey could become allies, it would change everything they knew about evolution and survival. Over the following days, alien scientists worked alongside human researchers to document the human-canine bond. They studied everything from basic training to advanced working relationships. Each discovery challenged their fundamental beliefs about how different species should interact. The young alien who had first befriended Scout became fascinated with the dogs. He learned their names, watched them play, and even helped feed them. His fearless example encouraged other aliens to overcome their instinctive terror. "What do you call this one?" Zethkri asked Jake, pointing at Brutus, who was lying in the sun with his tongue hanging out. Jake grinned and scratched behind his dog's ears. "This big guy? He's just a spoiled murder doggo who wants treats and belly rubs all day long." The phrase "spoiled murder doggo" became famous throughout the galaxy. It perfectly captured the human ability to see dangerous predators as beloved family members. Soon, other species were asking to learn about domestication and partnership. The Galactic Council established a new research station on Haven's Rest to study interspecies cooperation. Zethkri became the first alien ambassador to live permanently with humans and their dogs. He even adopted a puppy of his own, a gentle golden retriever he named Hope. The galaxy would never be the same. The revolutionary idea that enemies could become friends, that fear could become love, and that cooperation was stronger than conflict spread to every civilized world. All because humans had long ago looked at wolves and said, "You know what? Let's be friends." And the wolves, in their own way, had said yes.